Hi everybody, this is John Martinson. I'm the founder of Robolinux, and today I am going to show you exactly how easy it is to install Windows 7, whether it be a 32-bit copy or a 64-bit copy, and any of their plethora of different versions. Let's see, Pro, Home, Ultimate, and whatever, into the VirtualBox, so that you can enjoy a virus-free life, thanks to the Robolinux Stealth VM systems. So let's get started. I am going to take you right from the start, as if you were, literally beginning from scratch. So you have kindly downloaded and donated to help us keep going here for this company, so we can continue to support you. And you've downloaded your Robolinux VM Systems installer, and I'm going to go ahead and install that. So I'll click it. Now, let me just say that this could be any Linux operating system. All the menu options I'm showing you here are in Linux Mint, all of their editions, as well as all the Ubuntu editions and variants and derivatives and Fedora and CentOS and Red Hat and OpenSUSE and anyway, just tons of different Linux operating systems. So here we go. I'm going to click on Robolinux VM Systems Installer, and of course, before you do that, you want to make sure you've got those files in your downloads folder, which I'll show you in a second. So I'm going to click that. You simply type your password. You can't see as the keys are going in. Some people get hung up on that. Once you've typed them in, you just press the enter key, and you'll see that your virtual machine installers are finished and ready, and you'll be redirected to a FAQ web page. And of course, if you're using Linux Mint, you'll go to a Linux Mint web page. If you're using Ubuntu, you'll go to an Ubuntu web page, and so on and so forth. I'm using Robolinux. It is the operating system I wrote. I'm very comfortable with it, but it's not important which operating system you use. And I'll show you the downloads folder. You load your file manager. I'm sure you know how to do that. And you go to your downloads folder. And let me just say, these two files, the Stealth VM systems and the VM installers, those files you should keep in your downloads folder. Definitely make a backup of them if you want to use them later or add them to another machine. And that way you always have them. But they do need to be here in order to install the Stealth VM systems and the VM systems installer. So we'll go ahead and do the Stealth install. Works the same way, very easy stuff. Just sit back and let Robolinux do all the work. And it's finished. And we're going to again be redirected to a help site to help you understand how things work. It's actually very easy to operate, and that's why I'm doing this video today. Now, when you're watching this video, be sure to pause it as you're going through the various different simple steps that we have here, so that you can be really successful. And that's the whole point of what this is about. So now what we want to do is find VirtualBox in our Linux operating system, and it's not too hard to do. In my case, it's down here on the bottom panel, and I just click it, make sure it's there, nothing is installed, and it's time to pick a Windows 7 flavor and install that. And let's see, I've got a Windows 7 Professional. I'm going to go ahead and install it. It's a 64-bit. So I'm going to go find that Robolinux menu option to install a Windows 7 64 VM. And you just sit back and let Robolinux do all the work. It's a good idea to read the instructions. They are helpful. If you don't want to do that, then just watch this video. I'm going to go ahead and press enter now. I have to type my password. And now it's asking me for how much RAM. And in this case, make sure you know how much RAM you have in your machine. And if you look at our system specifications, you'll be advised as to what to assign. But essentially, Windows 7 is going to need to really run optimally. It needs a couple gigs. And you want your Linux operating system to have, you really should give it a gig, because it's got more overhead while it's managing the virtual machine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Windows some memory here. I'm giving it 4 gigs. You could give it 2 or 3. If you had 4 gigs, give 3 to Windows 7, give 1 gig to Linux. And again, back to the FAQs to help you. Okay, so that one's finished. And I'm just going to go check and make sure I've got my Windows 7 64, and I do. Now this is where people will get hung up, and this is one of the reasons I'm doing this video. VirtualBox likes to have their little quirks, and one of them is this. They have not set, in some cases, the DVD pass-through, so let's go over that right now. So you click your Windows 7 version, and you go down to Storage. And you see the host drive right here. Yours will be different than mine because not everybody has the same DVD drive. But click that, and you see this little box here for pass-through. Check it. Now that's important because now when you feed your DVD disk for Windows 7, now it actually can get loaded by the virtual box software. So very important there. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load that Windows 7 Professional 64-bit. I'm just now going to push it into my DVD drive. And here's another place people get hung up. They like to very quickly press the green start button and then get a error which will give you a non-bootable medium. What you need to do is have just a wee bit of patience, please, and wait for the DVD drive to load. It's not a long time, but give it some time. It's better to give it more time than no time. Otherwise we'll get a nasty email, and it's not our fault because the instructions really do tell you to give it a few seconds. So now you see I can tell that mine's loaded. So now I can press the green start button. And guess what? Now you're loading Windows 7 installation DVD. And this is really going to be exactly the same as if you had just installed it on a regular machine. A virtual machine really isn't that much different than a regular PC. There are some limitations. You can't run 3D games inside a virtual machine. You can't go fire up a Hollywood studio video editor because the host, that being Linux, is sharing its video card with the guest, and that being the Windows operating system. But for most people, this is going to be good enough for them because they're going to run programs that they need to run because they're tired of viruses, and they want to run Linux, which is much faster, and it's a modern operating system. Whether it be Linux Mint or Ubuntu or Fedora or SUSE, OpenSUSE or SUSE or Red Hat or CentOS or Slackware or one of those, or Zorin OS, another favorite. So here what you have is this normal Windows 7 installation screen. Some people, I don't know why they get hung up on this, but I'm going to take you through this. When they click the next button, they get confused, and I'll show you why. I've seen this happen. I've been around the world and watched people install Windows, and they ask me the same question. Now, here you have your different versions of Windows 7, Home, Basic, and Home Premium. and professional. In my case, I know I've got a professional version that I paid for. Um, see, it was $300. Um, so I click that, and then if I press the next button, this is where people get hung up. Well, after they've accepted the license agreement, sorry. Now here's where they get hung up. Is it an upgrade or is it a custom advanced? Well, it's not an upgrade because it's a brand new installation, and that's the answer. So, um, if so, I don't want to go into that diatribe, but anyway, so just click the custom advanced, and now at this point, you can click the next button, and it just starts installing Windows 7. Now, I don't want to make this a very long video, so I'm going to go ahead and pause until it's done asking me for the keys, which are 3 million characters long. Oops, I'm sorry, they're only about 75 characters long. I just couldn't resist telling you that. Um, Actually, they should make them 40,000 characters, and then we could spend the rest of our life installing Windows 7. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording now and wait for my installation to finish, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I have finished installing Windows 7. I think it was about 3 or 4 reboots. Entered the keys, cup of coffee, and so now what we want to do is first thing, we've got our VirtualBox behind the small window um, for Windows 7. So I'm going to go ahead and just minimize my Oracle VirtualBox and talk to you about this small window. This small window is like this right now because you have not installed your guest editions up here under devices. And a lot of people, what they'll do now is they'll think, and you can't blame them, that they need to go fetch or go on a Safari and find some Windows 7 video drivers and audio drivers and let's see, lots of drivers. No, you do not need to get any drivers. All you need to do is just click up here on the top under devices and come on down to insert guest edition CD image, which actually, okay, it's really just an image and you don't have to insert any CD. I'm not sure why Oracle has that misnomer, but it installs it from the VirtualBox that you've already got installed in your Linux operating system. So if I was to just right now click that, I have to wait a few seconds here for that to load from the VirtualBox software. And if it doesn't load, and I did that on purpose to show you why, it's because down here, the second quirk that you'll see in VirtualBox is that if you look at this DVD, if you right click it, it is pretty, oh, it did come up, I got lucky. But if yours doesn't, it's because it is set to the host drive and it then can't load the guest edition. So you don't want the host drive, which is your DVD for Windows 7, checked here. So that's very important. Now we do have, and I'm going to run you through this to show you how easy it is. It's just like a normal Windows program, and you'll see a lot of dialog boxes, but take all the defaults and you can do it lickety split. Here we go, bang, and some noises and boxes and warnings and all this stuff. And yes, we do want to install it. Go ahead and ask us 4 or 5 more times. Yeah, we do. We do want to install it. And you don't have to worry too much. Oh, we get to go do a reboot now. That's nice. So we're finished. That wasn't too bad. Okay, now you've got your guest editions installed, and you didn't need to install any drivers that will cause lockups in Windows in the virtual machine. It will blow up your Windows 7 installation completely, and then we'll get, unfortunately, some people will send some nasty emails to us because they we really wish that they had read the instructions, but this is why we're doing the video. So now this doesn't look very good because it's small, and I'm going to teach you how to adjust the size. It's very easy. If you go to View at the top, you will note that you have different options in terms of how you want to adjust your Windows 7 operating system inside your virtual machine. And some of them are pretty cool. The one I like is the switch to full screen, especially when I'm doing some Photoshop work, which I rarely do. But if I want to use a PSD file, which I can use in GIMP as well, but sometimes I like to do it in Photoshop, I'll switch to the full screen. Now, you'll note to the right it says the host plus F, and it'll tell you what that host key is. It's actually the right control key and then the F key for full screen. And if I click that, it tells me about it. And it tells you because you want to be able to go back to the other size that you had. So that's pretty nice of Oracle. And it gives you a switch button, which is cool. So I'm going to click that, and guess what? There we are. Do we really have Linux? Well, I hope we do. Right control F, and back to the small one. And now you see that DVD up there? That's the Windows DVD, and you want to eject that. Okay, so we will right click it. That's in Linux. It could be any Linux operating system. Just right click it. Come on down here to eject, and you'll hear your DVD drive open up. Take it out. And I like to adjust the window when I first install Windows, whether it's XP or 7. I just drag the window like this to whatever I like. And I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way, my bottom panel, and just get it where I like it. And I like just a wee bit of room over here, so I can navigate around and use my system. I don't have to have this panel up here if you're wondering about that. That can be removed as well. And of course, I can just change the view back to full screen, and that's going to get rid of that as well. And right control and F, and I'm back to that. So I'm going to position my trash can down here. And let's see if I can think of anything else we need to do. Oh, we're going to go ahead and create a shortcut so you can one-click load Windows 7. So what you see here is a pretty easy installation as long as you remember those couple little quirks that I showed you about VirtualBox, and always, pause the YouTube video so that you can then, take advantage of these instructions and make your life really easy. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button to do a shutdown. Hit the start to do a shutdown. And I'm going to load my VirtualBox, and in any Linux operating system it's pretty easy to find your copy of Oracle VirtualBox. In mine, I can click down here, I can go up here to the menu. I've actually got it still minimized. So now you see your Windows 7, and it could be a 32, mine's a 64. Simply right click it, go to the bottom where it says create shortcut on desktop, and now you've got that nifty shortcut, but it looks kind of ugly. That's not a Windows logo. So we're going to go ahead and shut down VirtualBox, and we're going to go to our file manager in Linux, and we're going to go to the VM icons folder that Robolinux put there for you during the installation of your Robolinux VM software. So now what we want to do is just drag that shortcut into the VM icons folder and right click it, and we're going to program it by clicking top left here, and we've got to navigate down to our VM icons again in our file manager and pick Windows 7, and now we have a nice Windows 7 shortcut. From there you drag it to where you want, and you can put it on your desktop, you can put it in your panel if you want. You could actually put it up here You know, there's different ways in different Linux operating systems for you to do that. I'm going to position mine, and I like it over here, just a little bit left of the trash can. And so I'm done creating this shortcut, and I'm going to install Office now for you. So I'm going to load Windows 7 by just one-clicking it off of my panel. And I'm going to go grab my Office 2003 disk, which is not supported by Microsoft anymore, but that's not a problem because I have the Robolinux Stealth VM systems, and I don't need updates because I'm not worried about viruses attacking me. And this Office 2003, which I paid, I don't know, was it? I think it was like $500 or $600, and I don't really feel like throwing it in the trash since it really does everything I need it to do, and I've been using it for many years. So I just put it into my DVD tray, and here is where people get hung up again, and another good reason to have this video. What they'll do is they'll put the DVD in and they'll think that they can instantly load it, but it's a little bit slower in a virtual machine. So I'm going to go ahead and load it in and see if it actually loads the DVD on the screen. And in some cases, unfortunately, it does not. So here's how you get access to it. You go to your Start menu and go up to Computer, and eventually it will show up. And if it doesn't show up, that's because down here you didn't set to the host drive. And in fact, see that? I didn't have it set to the host drive. So now I must click that, and it will then find it. So that is a quirk, and that is somewhat frustrating for our users, but now I've shown you how to solve that problem. And if it continues to be stubborn, you can reload it again, and it looks like it's being real stubborn. Let's see. Yeah, the host drive is checked from that tiny little DVD, and it's not loading. So I'm going to go and see if it's actually, well, it's loaded in Linux, so it should be in Windows, but it's not yet. This is actually good to show you what you have to do to make this work. I am going to have to shut Windows down because I didn't set the DVD to host drive before I loaded my Microsoft Office. So I'm going to shut it down or do a reboot, and this time it'll load. And I'm actually just going to eject it and go through that process again. Okay, I'm going to load Windows 7. Now that it's sharing the host DVD drive with the machine that you're running, the physical machine, now the virtual machine has access to the DVD drive. And I'm going to load the DVD. It should really load. It does take a little bit longer in a virtual machine. And there it is. You see, I'm glad I had that error because that is going to happen to our users, and unfortunately it's really not our fault. That is just a quirk in VirtualBox, and you do need to remember, and I'll do it again, right click that DVD and make sure that host drive is checked before you try to load any DVD software applications. And so now I've got my nice run set up in Windows, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable. So I click it, and Microsoft apparently is not really familiar with their own software, so there's a warning. And I can just leave that on the screen. Now here it comes up, and I don't want to waste your time showing you how to install Office. I'm pretty sure you know how to do that. So I'm going to pause and finish installing Office. Okay, so it's finished installing Microsoft Office 2003. I don't find the need to spend another $3,000 on Office or 1,500 or whatever. So now I'm going to press finish, and I did this on purpose to show you how you can get that disk out of there. Now let's see if it'll let us eject it, and you should be able to eject it from Windows 7. Oh, lovely. Okay, so we did. Note that if for some reason VirtualBox in all its infinite wisdom does not allow you to do that in Windows 7, you would just go to your Linux desktop and you would eject it here. So now we're finished. It's ejected, but it's still showing another quirk in VirtualBox. But it is installed. I'm going to prove it to you right now. Go to the Start button, and if I go see my programs, I should see the Microsoft Office. Let's see if it's showing it here. Maybe you have to do a reboot to get it. There it is, Microsoft Office, and there they are, beautiful. So we can start moving, icons where I want to. Unlock this taskbar, yeah, and put my Excel down there. Okay, and I don't need that one there, so I'll get rid of it. So now you've seen pretty much, the little quirks that are in VirtualBox, and as long as you get past those, and they're all pretty much around this, they all center around this DVD down here. This is where they make things a little bit well, those can be frustrating, and I appreciate that as a user, and so that's why we're doing this video, so that you can get past those, just really one or two issues. And what I'd like to ask you to do is, if there's something I'm missing in this video and I need to redo the video and make it more helpful to you, I certainly would appreciate any emails, suggestions. Believe it or not, the reason that Robolinux is even in business, although we are a nonprofit, the reason that we are able to do what we do is because of your support. And it's not just the little donations, it's the kind suggestions that we get from you. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank you for also watching this video. I hope it's been helpful, and may God bless you.